You know that dark, damp patch on your wall? The one that shows up every monsoon, and no matter how many times you paint over it, it just keeps coming back? It is one of the most frustrating things to deal with as a homeowner. Well, you're not alone. So today, let's dive in and really get to the bottom of what's going on behind your walls. So yeah, that's the big question, right? Why does it keep returning? Because that reoccurring dampness, it's just a symptom of a way deeper issue. And honestly, just covering it up with paint, it's kind of like putting a bandage on a broken bone. To fix it for good, we first need to understand the difference between two really critical terms. Okay, so let's get this straight. We often mix up leakage and seepage, but they're totally different things. A leak, that's obvious. You can see water flowing from a cracked pipe or something. But seepage is the slow, sneaky cousin. It's water infiltrating through tiny, invisible pores and cracks. It's so much more subtle, and because it works silently over a long time, it's actually the more dangerous of the two, quietly weakening your home's entire structure. To really beat this problem, we have to put on our detective hats. Seriously, because finding a permanent solution isn't about just patching the wall. It's about uncovering the root cause. So let's go investigate our prime suspect. Meet the invisible enemy, hydrostatic pressure. I know it sounds super technical, but trust me, the concept is really simple. When water collects and stands against your foundation or on a flat roof, the sheer weight of that water creates a powerful force. And that pressure is strong enough to literally push moisture right through microscopic pores in concrete and brick. It's the silent force driving that frustrating seepage. And here's the crazy part. A lot of these seepage problems are literally built into the house right from day one. To cut costs, some builders might skimp on waterproofing, or the plaster's too thin, or they use these cheap porous bricks that basically act like sponges. Even a simple design flaw, like a roof that's completely flat with no slope for drainage, is just asking for water to pool up and create that hydrostatic pressure we were just talking about. But look, it's not just about how a house is built. Time takes its toll on everything. Even a perfectly constructed home isn't immune forever. Over the years, things change. Plumbing can develop these tiny, slow leaks inside the walls you'd never see. The building itself naturally settles, creating new little cracks. That original waterproofing layer, it gets old, brittle, and cracked from the sun. And even inside, poor ventilation in places like a bathroom traps all that humid air, weakening the surfaces from the inside out. So you might be thinking, it's a little damp patch. What's the big deal? Well, as it turns out, ignoring it comes with a surprisingly high price tag, and often it leads to a much, much bigger crisis down the road. Get ready for this number. It's pretty staggering. Homeowners can end up spending 5 to 10% of their entire property's value just on repairing water damage. Think about that for a second. That's a huge chunk of money, all because the problem was ignored until it became a full-blown crisis. That little damp patch you see, it's just the tip of a very, very expensive iceberg. And this chart breaks down exactly where all that money goes. Yeah, peeling paint and warped wallpaper, that's the aesthetic stuff. But the real danger, the big one, is the 45% that goes to structural damage. We're talking about water corroding the steel rebar inside your concrete, weakening the very bones of your home. And let's not forget the health hazards from mold and mildew, which can trigger some really serious respiratory problems. Let me tell you a real-world cautionary tale. There was this brand new high-rise building that started having massive leakage problems. And it wasn't from an earthquake or anything. It was because the waterproofing on the terrace was applied just a little too thin, all to save a bit of money up front. The repair bill? It was astronomical. The lesson here is crystal clear. A small investment at the start would have prevented a massive financial disaster just a few years later. And here's a plot twist for you. The problem isn't always coming from outside the house. Imagine finding damp patches on your bedroom wall, but there's no obvious source. The culprit? The bathroom, right on the other side. Water was slowly seeping through the tile grout because there was no waterproofing layer underneath. It's a huge reminder that wet areas inside your home need just as much protection as the roof. Now, when we're talking about anything below ground, like a basement, oh boy, the stakes get even higher. There was this commercial basement where they skipped the foundation waterproofing. The final repair bill was massive, and the truly shocking part, putting in a preventative moisture barrier during construction would have cost less than 1/6 of that amount. The difference in cost is it's immense. Okay, enough doom and gloom. We've seen the causes and the consequences. Now for the most important part, the solutions. How do we fight back? Whether you're building a new home or fixing up an old one, there is a clear defensive strategy you can use. So if you're lucky enough to be building from scratch, you're in the driver's seat. You have the ultimate advantage. It all starts at the design phase, making sure roofs have proper slopes, planning for drainage. Then it's about choosing the right materials, not just the cheapest ones. And, this is crucial, having quality control during construction to make sure everything's done right, followed by regular checkups. Basically, building a dry home is all about being proactive at every single stage. But what if you're already dealing with this? Don't worry, there's a plan. It's a methodical process. First, you have to play detective and trace the water back to its true entry point. Please, don't just patch the stain. Then you address the root cause, whether it's a crack or a leaky pipe. Only then do you apply the right waterproofing treatment. And finally, just make sure your gutters and drains are clear to keep the problem from coming back.
This brings us to the final and I think the most critical takeaway from all of this. It all boils down to one simple financial reality.
Just look at this chart. The difference is just so stark, it says it all, doesn't it? Spending a little extra on quality waterproofing during construction, that tiny bar on the left, it's a minor investment. But waiting to cure the problem later, you're looking at costs that are 10 to 20 times higher. This is the financial argument for getting it right the first time. Prevention isn't just better than the cure, it's monumentally cheaper. So the next time you see that damp patch, I want you to remember this. The goal isn't just to hide the symptom. The real question, the one that's going to lead you to a permanent solution, is where is this water coming from and why did my waterproofing fail? Answering that question, that's how you turn this recurring nightmare into a one-time fix and how you protect the biggest investment of your life.
Want to learn something new about construction and real estate? Then subscribe to the channel, because here at ConnectNBuild, we have a passion for people, projects, and growth.